Welcome to the week. Once again, I'm fighting a massive exhaustion. I think it's the past couple of weeks catching up to me. So, I think this is one of those bird's foot ferns. So the seeds over here, finally the pod looked like it was getting dried out and ripening, so I actually have it downstairs in the kitchen on a piece of wax paper to put it up on a table so it's easier for me to plant out. The seeds are falling out of it right now. I'm putting it in the little container that was in the middle of the floor here. Some of these, the Sabuinensis by Trismediensis, that I think you can see some, hopefully you can see some of them are swelling from the pollen that I picked up with my finger from the wood here from when this Campanulata by Spectabilis by Telengensis was blooming. So I'm surprised and glad and happy that took. So I'll have some more seeds. The last time I tried to sprout my Sabuinensis by Trismediensis cross, a couple of them sprouted, a few, and then they all died back. So maybe this hybrid is just kind of hard to sprout, but I think it'll be really pretty once again. So I'll give it another shot. This is all the seeds already. There's one more container, which is the one that I'm potting up downstairs right now, and then there'll still be one more. I just bought some more hummus the other week so that I have another container, so I think that'll go in a hummus container. I'm out of breath from climbing the stairs, which is kind of ridiculous. That's how tired I am. So this jambon is sprouting new sprouts now that it's repotted. I'm glad it didn't die on me. I watered all these guys. Some of it is kind of underwater. I don't know if I should dump it or leave it. I think they can stand being underwater for a hot minute. We'll see. What else? I moved, so I was gonna pot up a lot of seeds this weekend, but I am just, I had to go into the city actually late last week, and I think I'm still exhausted from that. And it was so cold that my hands were numb and frozen for a while. It's not like it was freezing, but my hands just don't do well in the cold. So my hands aren't quite where I want them to be playing with little seeds. So I'll save potting these up for another week. So I didn't wet them down till like a week or two ago, right? So I just dump a little bit of water with my watering can over the top of them, and that's where it's a little bit darker, the ones that aren't potted up. They don't seem to wick water up too well, so I think I'm going to end up having to top water them for at least a little bit until they kind of compact and will be able to wick themselves. So I guess it's good if I don't pot them up right now, right, for them to sort out moving water inside of themselves before I accidentally kill some seedlings. Maybe it's a bad idea having the cabbage in there already sprouted, because I think in order to keep these guys wet, I'll have to keep the cabbage a little bit too wet. I guess I'll have to sort that out. What else? I already watered today. Luckily I had the energy for that. Actually, that one could use some more water. One of the thirstier plants. Also, I was gonna try to plant peas seeds, which is just peas, right? I was gonna plant out some peas and the parsnip seeds and maybe some favas out in the garden this weekend, but it was freezing or below freezing until like 10:30 a.m. today. So if the ground is frozen solid, then and if it's not supposed to rain until Thursday or Friday, then it seems like outside conditions are determining that I'm not going to pot out till later this upcoming week, which is fine, because there's somebody who wanted to take a lot of the strawberry plants that have invaded everywhere too, so that I can get those out and get them to them at the end of this week in order to make space for where I'm going to plant the peas, because the strawberries invaded there on that back trellis. what else? Maybe this is a list of the things that I was gonna do, but then either can't because of weather or because I'm just too exhausted, or sometimes this works, opening them up without ripping them. Ooh, it worked this time. Pop. Pop goes the weasel. So, what else? Ooh, another leaf on the Monstera obliqua Bolivia. The Peru looks like it's dead. I think it's dead. I'll keep watering it, but I'm giving up on it. Oh, that's what. Downstairs in the kitchen, I got a little teeny tiny green sprout out of the ginger pot. And then the next day or two, I got 2-3 more sprouts. So the ginger's finally sprouted. I think it's been like 2 months since I planted it, maybe 3. Probably 1 to 2 months. So ginger, I successfully have ginger. So I had to rearrange the plants on that shelf, as I always do, because I have too many plants, right? I think I'll kick it out to the garden this summer, and then in the fall, once it starts getting cold, dig it up, harvest my ginger, and replant and start in the winter time and kick it out in the summer again next year. What else do we have? What else was I gonna say? So I've been reading a book about, I watched YouTube videos about grafting, but I've been reading a book about pruning for those fruit trees outside so that they look okay, right? Why is this wet here? Probably just spilled some water, huh? So I've been reading a book about pruning, and you can shove like from here to here, like shove it in between the branches. And I have that plastic modeling clay that I was going to try to make spacers with, but then I was thinking online reports say that they're a little bit brittle, so I kind of backtracked thinking about making some, but maybe I'll still make some spacers this weekend because I'm not sure what else to make it out of. And then, you know, like when some of these jugs bust, instead of throwing them out, maybe I'll cut little spacers out of those, but then the edges of that will be a little bit sharp, and I don't want to be cutting into fruit tree bark or anything. So maybe I'm back on, maybe I'll try to make tree branch spacers out of that plastic modeling clay. Maybe later today. I'll think about it. Because there's either two methods. You shove a thing between branches to space them out, right? Or you like tie a string and you weight it down to pull it apart. And I don't like the tying something to it and weighting it down, because I feel like that'll strangle the bark a whole lot more, and then also you have to find a lot of weights. I guess I'm still thinking about it. Well, that's it for the week, I suppose. Maybe it's just been one long apology in the ancient Greek sense of things that I wanted to do that I didn't get to. But, I mean, I've been working hard for weeks and weeks. I don't know if I told you last time, I moved the mulch around the yard, and then got compost into the beds too. So there's still more mulch to move, of course, but at least I got through the stuff that I definitely absolutely needed to do in a very timely manner. So fine. Maybe occasionally I should take a break. So that's that. And wait, is next weekend April Fool's? No, it's the weekend after. Okay. Anyway, see you next week.